Cheyenne Bernard, Chapter 8 Speech Assignment. No matter what side of an argument you may be on, we can all agree that understanding our opposition helps us to respect and respectfully disagree. An abortion does not mean that a woman wants to rid herself of a mistake. More often, it's about a woman making a difficult decision. I have conducted research on both sides of the abortion argument, the pro-life and the pro-choice. They're pretty simple to understand. It's given in their title. Pro-life would rather see a woman carry her child to term and give birth than for an abortion to take place. Pro-choice wants to see a woman make a choice and be able to have a choice. Abortion, adoption, carry her child to term, and to raise it. I have used facts from the Family Research Council, abortionprocon.org, state facts, personal stories from each side, and the New York Times opinion page. I will be arguing for the pro-choice side because I believe that having our own ideas and choices is what makes us free, to live in a democracy, not a dictatorship. I will be giving a couple examples for the arguments for pro-choice and pro-life, and then going into more detail about my own personal opinions. A key argument for pro-life states that it's about a woman, her body, and the unique cluster of cells that have formed inside of her. The unique cluster of cells is the zygote. At conception, the male and female create new DNA that is completely unique to the new individual. That's a fact. And the pro-choice would argue this, that abortion is okay because at 26 weeks of pregnancy is when the cortex in the brain forms. The cortex function is to perceive and process pain. Thankfully, most abortions are done before 26 weeks, before any pain would be felt. The argument there is that a woman should be able to have an abortion as long as her child would not feel the pain. The argument that pregnancy does not happen till a week later is a little bit shaded and a little bit skewed. Many pro-life activists feel that at conception is when pregnancy starts. I agree with that. I don't believe that it's a week later when the cluster of cells forms to the womb, creating the embryo. I believe that it starts at conception. The argument that pro-life activists have for this is that they believe pro-choice activists who argue with the week later idea is that they can get profits from women having abortions. Because if they push that pregnancy hasn't really happened yet, and you're terminating the pregnancy before it's even started, they get money from medically performed abortions. I'm asking you, who agree with the pro-life argument, to take a step back and consider the 1.1 million women in 2008 who had abortions. Consider how many of them might have been raped. How many of them would not have been able to provide for their child? With my two visuals, as you've taken a step back from your own ideas, think about these two visuals. My first one is of the 1.1 million women. 42% were below the poverty line. If they had carried their child to term, would they have looked like this mother on my second visual? Holding a sick and possibly starving child in her arms. Would they have felt that pain if they had not aborted that child? 89% were in their first 12 weeks of pregnancy. How many of those do you think were scared women who were rape victims? How do you think they would feel? If they had the abortion choice taken away from them, how scared would they be? Carrying a child created from such evil. 57% were in their 20s, just starting their careers possibly. How would they have provided a good life for that child? Unless the father of the child was able to provide for both the mother and the child until the mother was able to go back to work. Or until she was able to go back to school. 18% were in their teens. What would those teenagers' futures have looked like? Would they have been able to go to college? Would they have been able to graduate with honors, having to be a full-time mom and a full-time student? And if you call yourself a pro-life activist, when did we stop caring about a child that's born, starving, dying in his mother's arms, as on this second visual? And we care more about an undeveloped cluster of cells that has yet to feel, have a heartbeat, and have a brainwave. When did we stop caring for our impoverished in this country? When did we stop caring about each other and worrying about more what we can't see than what we can do to help? I have two stories here. One is a testimony, and the other is quotes from Ohio State Representative Teresa Feder. This first one, with the testimonies, is from Elizabeth from Oregon, who states, "People look at me and say, 'Why are you pro-life? You have no idea what those women are going through.' But I do. I have just been too scared and embarrassed. Elizabeth had an abortion and she regrets it, and I feel for her pain, but I'm proud that she made a choice. It may not have been the right choice for her, but she had a choice, and she took a choice. So before you get an abortion, or before you pressure someone to get an abortion or to not get an abortion, think about what's best for them, or what's best for yourself." I quote Teresa Feder, "I dare every one of you to judge me. How dare government get into my business?" Teresa was fighting a bill that would end abortions in the state of Ohio, because she herself was raped and impregnated through that rape. She had the choice for an abortion, and she took it. That was a right choice on her part. Now let's compare India currently to America. In America, we have been ending abortions left and right, safe abortion practices, I might add, medically by doctors, and women are having to cross state lines or go to back alleys where they are being crippled and harmed and possibly even killed because of poor abortions. And in India, they are promoting safe abortions for women, impoverished areas, and wealthy women. When did we stop caring? Thank you.